Welcome back to Queen City Corals. I'm Graham, and today I'm going to be showing you guys around the Reefing USA Charlotte show. If you guys haven't heard of Reefing USA, they have shows all across the country. They're really cool. They're a little bit smaller, but it's a really great opportunity to see a couple of local vendors as well as some vendors from all over the country. We had vendors from Illinois, from Wisconsin, as well as a couple of local Charlotte ones, some from Virginia, really just all over the country. So you get a nice different mix of corals, as well as some really cool art. This was brought by one of the showrunners, Bill. He owns Eye Candy Corals and also makes these really cool designs. If you've seen the cutouts that we have, these are laser cut and painted with a UV reactive paint, so they actually will glow under the blue lights, which gives you a really nice look, especially if you're mounting it next to the reef tank. Now, first up is Luis Reef. He is in the area, and so you've probably seen him at a couple of the other shows we've done videos at. He brings a nice mix of stuff. You can see he's got SPS on this rack, as well as some hammers and frog spawns and torches on this rack. Also had some nice zoas, a couple scenarinas in the back there, along with all different kinds of stuff. He had some scolies, as well as some encrusters, some chalices, a few favias, some mushrooms, some nice chunky acans, as well as a few of the trachees there. You can see there's some really nice colors in the trachees, as well as a green acanthophilia with some neat striping in it. Also had this really big octo spawn that was really cool, nice chunky. So next up this booth is Cove's Coral Cove. We actually ended up picking up some pieces from him. He had some of these really cool grafted Montes, and we ended up grabbing a few of these guys to grow out. I really like he grows out all of his corals, so it's all aquacultured, and you can really tell by the health of the pieces just because they're all chunky and happy. They have great color, which is usually an indication that they are farmed. So you can see he had the acans, the blastos, as well as a ton of different zoas, some chalices. He had some stylos and some bird's nest back there, along with some mushrooms up here. Really neat varieties of mushrooms, as well as next to those guys he had some hammers and frog spawns. Again, these are all aquacultured, which is really nice to see. They're all going to be nice and healthy. Also some torches in the back there. In his next tank he had some encrusters, some Montes, some pavonas, some bird's nests, as well as a couple of acros you can see towards the back there. And then this rack was all pretty much acros, some really nice colorful pieces. And they're really chunky frags too. He had some smaller ones that would be a little bit cheaper, but he also brought some chunky ones if you're looking for a bigger piece. Also had some clams up front here, and some more encrusters, some cyphastrias, leptostreas, some favites, as well as a few big things, some more clams, bubble corals, just a overall nice variety of stuff. Next up, we've got Ward's Aquatics. Ward is from Virginia, so he's somewhat local. You've probably seen him at a few shows. He actually was also at Reef Stock Denver. You might have seen him there. He had some bounce mushrooms, some Montes, some digis, some stylos. He grows a lot of his pieces out, and you can really tell just because of how chunky and encrusted all of these are. You can see the leptos there growing off the plugs. You can see the frog spawns he's got, trachea up there, some more leptos, chalices in the back as well, some of the OGs there, some favias, some favites. You can see a lot of nice color in those guys. A few zoas, some trumpets, galaxia, some cactus pavona, some hammers, another frog spawn, some Space Invader pictinia, as well as some more favites. I think he was the only person to bring some of those. And next up we have Jason Fox signature corals. If you've been in the hobby, you've probably heard of Jason Fox. We've got a ton of his pieces. They're always super colorful and are really popular just because they are grown out and handpicked by him, and he has some fantastic pieces. He's got everything: zoas, Montes, chalices, cyphastrias, hydnophoras, He's even got zoas, really just all kinds of things, and acroporas. He brought some colonies, which is nice to see. Some bigger, chunkier pieces that people can get if they want to fill in a little bit larger spot. Had this nice OG bounce up front here, as well as, of course, he had a ton of really nice acros, even some stylus danellas, some interesting chalices, the grafted montes there. You can also see in the back he's got a little mini colony, some big monte plates back there, as well as some more different varieties of encrusters and acros, all kinds of different stuff, even some micromusa acans, some clove polyps. Really all of his signature pieces he brought out. A really good variety. There was only one or two of each type of coral because there were so many different pieces. Now next up we have Aquatic Realm International. Again, he was actually in Reef Stock Denver, so if you guys watch our last show tour, you've seen him and his stuff. He has some really nice ganies. I think that's one of the highlights of his booth, is these aquaculture ganies that look absolutely fantastic. Also had some nice acros, some nice mushrooms. You can see a couple of St. Thomases there with some nice color to them. He really has a lot of beautiful stuff. You can see these ganies have really great color, and also they have pretty good extension. Those guys, when they're in a little lower flow, can really sprawl out. Had some jawbreakers there, as well as some other mushrooms. And then on this rack was a lot of encrusters that he grows out. So you can see some favites, some favias, even a couple of diasarius plates, which is neat to see. I think he was the only booth with diasarius plates. Also had some montes and chalices, as well as a couple of blastos. You can see a rainbow chalice there. Really nice color on all of those guys, and they're really bright as well. And then in the other tank he had some bigger colonies, some blasto colonies, some zoa colonies, as well as a chalice colony and some torches over here on this left side. Nice variety of torches, some bigger mushrooms, as well as some endophilias, some acanthophilias, some trachees, micromusa acans, plate corals, bubble corals, a really interesting looking lobo that had some unique color, as well as some other big pieces. And then he had a bunch of hammers, including a few hammer bouquets, so where he glued a couple of different varieties on there, which gives you a nice look. And then of course he had some rock flowers. And next up, my favorite booth, of course, it is the Queen City Corals booth. This was our first time setting up a little side tank here with the rock flowers, but I think it worked out pretty well. So you can see we brought a few of our rock flowers. We brought probably 75 rock flowers, but we had a bunch more back at the shop. As you can see, there's a nice mix of colors and varieties that you can get out of those. Now, starting off on this left side, we had some mushrooms with some trachees in the center there, you can see, as well as some button scolies right behind that. And then behind there we had our SPS rack, so I brought some bird's nests, some montes, some digitatas, some setosas, stylos, some manila spy monte, as well as some acros there. And then on the other half of this front rack I had some rainbow chalices, some rainbow acans, as well as some other acans. And then this was my zoa and clam rack. So I had some zoas there, some other softies. This was a beautiful endophilia that actually just sold on the website, unfortunately. All of our nice scolies there. We brought a few masters. And then we also had some Grandmaster crack zoas lined up there next to some of the leathers that we brought. This rack was full of black lights. These are one of our most popular sellers just because they're such a great price point. These guys are really easy to care for, and they have really great extension. As you can see, they're doing great. We also brought some Rasta torches, some Joker torches, some highlighter tip torches, as well as some gold torches and some Holy Grail torches. These guys are really beautiful, and honestly the video doesn't do them justice. They have super bright color. We also brought some ganies on this right side here, including a couple of different varieties. I really like the pink lemonade in the bottom right. That pink with the yellow just really pops and has a really nice contrast. Now this back rack, I had some frog spawns, some octo spawns, as well as a few hammers. So you can see we brought some of the hologram hammers, as well as some of the gold splatter hammers, and some of the regular neon green splatter hammers. We wanted to bring a little bit of everything on the hammers. This rack was all $15, so as you guys know, if you've been on our website, we have a $15 section, and these are some of the frags you can find there. Some trumpets, some encrusters, some Duncans. This was our little show specials board that you can see there. Up we had Oceanic Gardens. He is based out of Illinois, so quite a far drive for him. But he made it out, and he was actually at Reef Denver as well. So if you watch that video, you can see what he brought there. He had some plate corals, some really cool anemones in the back there. They were neon green with almost like pinkish tips. Then he also brought some of these rock flowers as well. The rock flowers are definitely super popular. Then he also had some ganies, some hammers, some frog spawns, as well as a few octo spawns in the back there that you can see, nice bright yellow ones. Also had some chunky acans, some mini colonies there, and some torches. Let's see how big some of those acans are, and how fluffy these torches are. Really cool. Then he had some encrusters, some button scolies, of course zoas in the back there, some trachees up front. And then he had some zinnia and some clove and pipe organ in the back there. And he also had some leathers along with the clove polyp, some zinnia, some mushrooms. You can see up front. I really liked the Deadpool jawbreaker mushrooms. You can see up front there, the red with the purple. Really nice looking colors there. And then he had some of these small elegance frags, which is nice, just because a lot of times elegances are pretty big, so you need a larger tank for those guys. But with this size, you can actually keep them in a little bit smaller tank, which is cool to see. Now the next booth is Coral Stop, and he was also at Reef Denver, so you can check out. I really liked his pricing. What he did is this grid system where you just look on the pricing sheet and you see, you look at the number on the side and then kind of count in, and it'll tell you what the coral is as well as the price, which is really convenient if you're a consumer to kind of see what you're looking at. So he brought a ton of different torches, some holy grails, some golds, a lot of variety there. He also brought a bunch of zoas. He grows out a ton of zoas. I was talking to him about his zoa farm, and he loves these guys. They grow really well for him, and they also have fantastic color, as you can tell. He had a good mix of different types. He also had some hammers up front here. With those, he had some chalices behind there, some rainbow chalices, as well as some hammers in the back there. We actually ended up grabbing a few hammers from him. He had some really nice pieces. He had some Blastos, some Micromusa Acans, some Acan Lords, as well as a few Micro Ganies and some Monties there. You can see the grafted Monties and some Acros in the back. Had some nice color to them and a pretty good variety of different Acros there. Now in this tank he had some more zoas as well as some Duncans, some other acros, and some other bird's nests and acroporas, other SPS, kind of a mixed rack here of different stuff. Some fuzzy mushrooms there, and you can see he had some more mushrooms. He had some magic carpet mushrooms, which were nice. He was the only one who had those, as well as some other pieces there. You can see some ganies, some frog spawns in the back, as well as some more micromusas and some Diacerius plates. Next up we have Tirac Aquatics. He is local to the Charlotte area, and if you guys have seen some of our local show tours, you've definitely seen him. He had some yellow Fiji leathers as well as some non-photosynthetic sun corals in this tank, next to some lobos and a few more leathers. These are some green leathers. which are a little more uncommon now, the yellow Fiji especially, just because we don't get them in as often. Now, next up in this tank, he had some mushrooms, Diacereus plates, as well as some Favias and Favites, and some Blastomerletes. And then in the back, he had a few Trachees lining the entire row, and some Ganies, some Alveoporos, nice chunky frags with some pretty good color to them. As you can tell, he had quite a few varieties. More Trachees on this rack, as well as some of the bigger ones in the back there. Also had some Elegances in the back. And then he had some Acan frags on this rack. Nice variety there. And Scolies over here on this rack, as well as a Lobo that made its way onto there. And then some big clams back there. He also had some chalices and some bubble corals, along with some Scolies. You see the button Scolies there mixed in with some Zoas. He also had some frog spawns and a few Duncans in the back there, and some red Scenarinas, as well as some Indophilias and some more Trachees. This rack was Acros, and he had some nice chunky frags there of different pieces. This rack was Torches. He had some gold, some Rastas, as well as a few other varieties. You can see the Acanthos in the back there, and some hammers on this rack. He had a nice mix of Aussie and Indo. So you have some of the bigger heads there from Aussie and some of the smaller heads from Indo. Next up, we have Carolina Coral heads. If you guys are into high-end sticks, you've definitely heard of Joseph. He has got some of the hottest pieces in the game. I actually ended up picking up some more pieces from him. I picked up some pieces last year at this show from him to grow out, and I've got some of those actually on the website now, but I had to get a few more pieces that I didn't already have. You can see this is under white light, and the colors on these guys are absolutely fantastic. Some of my favorite pieces of his are the Icarus, as well as the Zelda, which he actually had a piece of there on that right side. I ended up grabbing that frag. And finally, we had Eye Candy Coral. He had all of these really cool cutouts that you might have seen. We sell these actually in our store as well, but he had a bunch of nice pieces. You can see some Ganies in the back there with some Lobos, massive Elegance here, as well as some really big chalices, Acan Echinatas, which were a little more uncommon, some Micromusas, some plate corals, some Lobos, some Platies. You can see some of the encrusters there next to the hammers, as well as some really cool Acanthophilias. This one with the gold ring was really interesting. Also had a couple of other Lobos up front there. This tank was full of Gorgonians. I have never seen a Gorgonian this thick, and it made me a little insecure, to be honest. Next up in this tank, he had some more encrusters, some Pasiloporas, some Zoas, a few of the Acans there, and a few more encrusters, some Galaxia. Really great beginner pieces for people looking to start out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe so you get updated whenever we post a new video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like below and comment what your favorite booth was.